So far, we've been looking at why we behave the way we do with money. Now, I want to look at something slightly different, how the financial system is designed around the way we behave. A few examples make this clearer than the humble car loan. Now, I want to make it clear before I proceed. This is not an argument against car loans. It's not an argument against buying a car. I simply use this example because it is the most frequent example that I come across where people are willing to pay and purchase something that they can't afford. A car can be too expensive for you and still feel affordable. I repeatedly see this where people buy cars using the mechanisms of a balloon payment or agreeing to interest that they shouldn't because they're trying to make a purchase that is too expensive for them feel affordable. And that's one of the stranger things about modern finance. You don't have to make the price smaller. You just simply have to make the payment smaller. What do I mean by this? If you say to someone, buy a 600,000 Rand car, that can sound, look, and feel expensive, buying a 600,000 Rand car. But if you say, buy a car for 9,000 Rand a month, that's a different framing. That feels different. The car itself didn't become cheaper. Your attention simply moved from the total cost to the monthly cost. And that's where the psychology becomes interesting. When the same financial commitment is presented as a series of smaller payments, it can feel easier to absorb than one large number. The economics of the sale haven't changed. The framing has. So instead of asking, can I afford this car? We start asking, can I afford this payment? Those sound like the same question, but believe me, they aren't. A longer loan term can make the monthly payments easier to manage, but the debt itself lasts longer. The interest accumulates for longer, and you remain financially committed to a purchase that is losing value. You do all these things, yet the decision can still feel responsible because the monthly number fits. That's the power of payment framing. The way a financial decision is presented can change how expensive it feels without changing what it actually costs. And this isn't unique to cars, like I said. This is not an attack on cars, car payments, purchasing a car. I'm simply trying to help you understand the importance of framing a purchasing decision properly. This mechanism is everywhere. A purchase becomes a subscription. A large expense becomes a monthly installment. A long-term commitment becomes a manageable payment. The total cost moves into the background. You're no longer seeing that. What comes forward, what is making the decision, is the monthly number. The monthly number becomes the decision. And this is where financial behavior gets interesting. The system doesn't need you to misunderstand the numbers. The system doesn't need you to misunderstand the numbers. In fact, the system doesn't even need you to misinterpret the numbers. By law, when you're making a credit purchase, they give you a contract. The numbers are there, stated clearly in black and white. The law emphasizes that they should, if anything, help you understand the numbers. But what do we do as human beings? Because we're lazy, we simply focus on the monthly number and use that to frame the decision of, should I purchase this thing? Is this too expensive or is it affordable? The system doesn't need you to misunderstand the numbers for it to be effective. It only needs the numbers to be presented in a way that makes the commitment feel manageable. And once you start thinking in monthly payments, something else then happens. You can begin to justify the next upgrade. if I'm already paying 8,000 Rand, what's another 500 Rand? What's another 1,000? What's another 1,500? And this is why we get trapped in inflation creep and lifestyle inflation. The difference in between what we currently have and making the next upgrade feels small. But small monthly decisions can create very large long-term commitments. So perhaps the better question isn't, can I afford the monthly payment? It's, would I make this decision if I had to pay the full cost up front? Because most of the time, affordability isn't simply a fact. It's a frame. It's a frame, a lens through which you make a decision. And the right frame can make a financial commitment feel comfortable long before it becomes financially sensible. And that is why I keep saying that the whole point of financial planning is to help you create the right lens. It's to help you create the correct frame through which you make financial decisions. The price was always there. The payment simply made it easier not to look at it. The price was always there, the price of the purchase. The payment, the monthly payment, simply made it easier not to look at it. The system doesn't need you to misunderstand the numbers. It only needs the numbers to be presented in a way that makes the commitment feel manageable.